Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Just like in The Wizard of Oz, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the top 10 foods you eat that are a lie.
Ignorance is bliss.
Bacon bits.
Stop eating!
Another piece of bacon.
Guys,
Getting out the frying pan for that smoky and salty flavoring can be a lot of work, but not to worry, bacon bits have you covered. Well, kind of. Many households have praised bacon bits for the convenient and quick ability to transform a rather boring meal into a smoky, savory paradise with the shake of a bottle. But what many don't realize is that the magical bacon sprinkles may not even be bacon or meat at all. You're probably more shocked than when you found out about Santa Claus. Well, maybe it's not that serious, but it's still quite a surprise. Now, this doesn't mean that all bacon bits are meatless, but a majority of brands on the market, as it turns out, are. All you have to do is take a quick look at the ingredients list and you'll quickly see they're made from soy flour and canola oil, along with lots of artificial flavors to replicate the taste of the smokiness in real bacon. The main reason companies are able to get away with this misleading title is simply because of a marketing loophole.
Loophole, loophole, loophole.
Enough.
The product is marketed as bacon flavored rather than bacon itself, so companies technically aren't doing anything legally wrong, and they may have had you fooled like many others due to the near perfect copy in taste.
I'll just eat whatever you put in front of me.
American cheese.
It's fake!
The likelihood is that at some point you've come across this memorable golden slice of cheese. It's a staple in American fast food chains and a go-to for many families when making homemade burgers as well as grilled cheese sandwiches. And while it may be called American cheese, cheese is the farthest thing from what it actually is, as the name is truly deceiving. Not only is the name not accurate in the description, but the cheese itself actually originated in Switzerland in the early 1900s.
He's not even American.
So if it isn't real cheese, and it isn't actually American, how and why is it labeled as American cheese? Well, while the product was invented in Switzerland, it was quickly patented by an American man named James Lewis Kraft, a Canadian-American entrepreneur in 1916. After recreating and patenting the pasteurized cheese product, Kraft intended for the cheese to have a longer shelf life than regular cheese while still tasting fresh. As it turns out, American cheese does have cheese in it, but is primarily made by grinding together old and new cheese, then adding an emulsifier, which is an additive that helps wet ingredients like oil and water combine. Emulsifying salt is then added to the American cheese to keep the product smooth. So when it's melted, the product stays together and has that iconic stringy effect that it's best known for. Pringles.
Pringles are for champions only.
Pringles first came to fruition in the late 1960s under the name of newfangled potato chips. However, they were later renamed Pringles. They were the perfect chip. Salty but not too greasy, paired with the perfect crunch in every bite, not to mention the countless flavors. While you'd assume that Pringles are simply just another potato chip, that assumption would be wrong.
Sheldon, what are the ingredients in Pringles?
Pringles are actually only 42% potato, with the remainder being composed of corn flour and rice flour, as well as wheat starch and vegetable oils. Some more attentive consumers may have noticed that the company doesn't call them potato chips at all, but rather potato crisps. That's not just a preference the company made, it's actually due to a legal encounter with the United States Food and Drug Administration in the mid-70s, as technically, due to the ingredients and production process, Pringles don't qualify to be considered actual potato chips. Nevertheless, whatever you want to call them, Pringles will always be an iconic and delicious snack. New to BabbleTop? Then how about hitting that subscribe button? And just like air, it's free. Thanks. Baby carrots. What's up, Doc? Well, something's up with these carrots. Baby carrots have long been a favorite on-the-go snack, as well as a healthy lunchbox option for kids. They're small, conveniently sized, and as far as veggies go, they're pretty sweet. But have you ever wondered how baby carrots are so small, cute, and overall such a perfect shape? The answer may shock you. As it turns out, baby carrots don't grow into the well-rounded shape, but rather are shaped down from 2-inch strips cut from a more traditional-looking carrot. A traditional carrot is harvested from the fields, then immediately put in trucks and taken to a facility where they're washed and sorted by size, cut, peeled, and polished into perfect bite-sized pieces. Besides the imposter baby carrots, matchsticks and even colored carrots are available for a wide range in variety.
I just want carrots.
The banana.
Banana.
Have you ever bit into a delicious banana and thought, this tastes man-made? Probably not. Well, in actuality, the modern banana is a man-made hybrid of the wild Musa acuminata and Musa balbisiana banana species that are typically found in the forests of South Asia. Now, unlike the traditional banana, the Musa acuminata has a fleshy inside, kind of like a pumpkin, and has a very unpleasant taste. Luckily for us, early humans figured out that the Musa balbisiana has a pleasant-tasting inside, contrary to the acuminata, and managed to crossbreed the two species, resulting in the delightful banana we enjoy to this day. Now, this all sounds exciting and rather simple. How hard could crossbreeding plants be? But the process of crossbreeding the two species didn't happen overnight. In fact, much like man's best friend the canine, bananas have been domesticated by humans over thousands of years and have seemed to have aged like a fine wine.
Well, if you ask me, the bouquet is a little too robust for a Merlot.
Crab sticks.
I think it's fake crab.
Is this fake crab sticks?
This crab-inspired concoction has become quite popular over the past few decades, but not many people really know what they're eating. The crab stick first came about in 1973 when a seafood company called Sugiyo invented a prototype version of the crab stick, originally named
카니가마보코.
A couple years down the road in 1975, the brand Osaki reinvented the product in the stick form we're more familiar with today. Most commonly found in seafood salad, California sushi rolls, and much more, crab sticks have certainly found their way into many homes. But what many don't know is that they aren't made from crab at all, but rather concentrated whitefish protein. How appetizing! Fish meat is shredded down and rinsed repeatedly, doused in artificial flavoring, and eventually formed into the more easily recognized sticks. You may notice, depending on where you buy them, that crab sticks tend to come in different colors. But this is actually just for visual recognition, as the color represents a big part of the crab stick's identity, as well as the flavor. In countries such as France, Belgium, and the US, the sticks tend to have more of an orange coloring to them, as they are crab-flavored. But for other parts of the world, such as Asia, you can typically find them in a red or pink, which are flavored like lobster and clam. Next time you're out and about and happen to pick up some crab sticks, just remember you're actually just eating a regular fish in disguise. Fishy indeed.
Man, what you been getting?
Parmesan cheese.
This is a wall of lies!
Parmesan cheese is incredibly versatile and indisputably delicious, and it's likely you have some form of it in your fridge right now. It's been around for centuries and comes with a lot of history you may not be aware of. The ingredients of real Parmesan are quite simple, as the cheese is to be made with the same 4 ingredients without failure: milk, salt, bacteria cultures, and rennet. Sounds kinda similar to about every other cheese on the planet. Who would have guessed? Traditionally, Parmesan is actually called Parmigiano Reggiano, as Parmesan is simply the American translation. If you've ever had true Parmigiano while traveling abroad, you've been lucky enough to taste the real deal. But when you buy it produced locally in the US, you could be getting almost anything but. While traditional Parmesan has just the 4 basic ingredients, companies such as Kraft have been adding 3 other ingredients, which include cellulose powder, potassium sorbate, and cheese cultures, making this so-called Parmesan almost unrecognizable to cultured taste buds.
Components of food satisfaction: salty, sweet, sour, bitter, umami, odor, sound.
So while you may be getting the basic ingredients of true Parmesan, you're also getting a lot more than you bargained for. And in this case, it isn't a good thing.
Sorry, no refunds.
Chicken tikka masala.
chicken tiki.
Chicken tikka masala.
Yeah, tikka masala.
There's nothing quite like dropping in at your favorite Indian restaurant to enjoy a steaming hot plate of chicken tikka masala. But what you may not know is that the dish isn't quite the authentic Indian dish you've been led to believe. This world-renowned dish can be found in Indian restaurants all across the world, with countless variations to satisfy anyone's personal tastes. So then, where does this famed dish truly come from?
In India.
India, totally. Love India.
Well, as it turns out, the dish was actually brought to the mainstream in none other than the country of bagpipes and green rolling landscapes, Scotland. The dish itself was invented when a Bengali chef by the name of Ali Ahmed Aslam had to improvise after a customer returned his dish for being too dry. And rather than wasting the perfectly good food, he grabbed a spoonful of hot creamy tomato soup and handed it back to the customer. The unsuspecting customer loved it, and so tikka masala was born. You'd expect the chef to be on a stage with improv skills like that. While the dish's origins have been fought over, this creamy Scottish dish will continue to be enjoyed by its lovers for years to come. Nuts.
It's gotta be nuts, nuts, nuts!
Nuts are a lie. Well, in a way. The name nut has been attached to many nut-like foods purely for their appearance. And while it makes life easier in a culinary sense, the name of the delicious snacks suggests that they are indeed nuts. However, botanically speaking, legumes and drupes are completely different and have simply been labeled nuts in many cases. Let's start with peanuts, which are actually more related to peas and beans and not nuts. While more traditional tree nuts grow in, well, trees, such as pecans, walnuts, and almonds, peanuts grow below ground. I guess the name peanut is more literal than originally thought. The nuts within the shell are actually seeds and are enclosed in their pods before being harvested and dried thoroughly. The seeds are part of the plant family Leguminosae,
Wingardium Leviosa,
which may sound like a Harry Potter spell, but the name commonly represents the pea family. When it comes to pecans, walnuts, and almonds, they're actually drupes. They are closer to mangoes, olives, and cherries than nuts themselves. This is due to them being grown in trees covered in a soft exterior with the seed in the middle. But unlike cherries or mangoes, we only eat the seeds of pecans, walnuts, and almonds. If you're curious to know what a true nut is, think of a dry, hard fruit in a hard shell, such as chestnuts and hazelnuts, which typically don't split on their own.
Well, then, I learned something new today.
Coffee and cocoa beans. While many coffee and hot chocolate enthusiasts may use National Bean Day as an excuse to slip an extra cup into their day, as it turns out, they may have celebrated too quickly.
I have to apologize.
It seems coffee and cocoa beans are not beans at all. What? Although we regularly use the terms coffee beans and cocoa beans, neither are actually beans. Just like peanuts, society has agreed on the common vernacular and simply labeled them something that they aren't. As it turns out, coffee beans are actually the pit seeds of bright red berries known as coffee cherries. And while that may sound like a delightful dessert, the berries are small and fleshy and can be found in a variety of colors. Each contains a strong amount of caffeine and antioxidants, making them both delicious and a great source for coffee beans. Cocoa beans, which are responsible for everyone's secret pleasure, chocolate, aren't technically beans either. They're seeds from the cocoa pod, which is a fruit of the Theobroma cacao tree, which means food of the gods. When talking about chocolate, a truer meaning there could not be. Looking for more? Just tap or click another video. First time here? Then hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell.